Alright, how's it going, guys? Welcome to my YouTube channel, Hazy Days. We're going to be covering a college survival guide. My name is Alex Bacon, I'm 21 years old, and I'm a recent WSU college grad, which means there's definitely hope for you as well, considering how much failure I went through in college. So on today's first episode, we're going to be covering how to find the perfect roommate, as well as the importance of finding that perfect roommate. Because if you don't, you're looking at living with this person for at least 6 months up to a year. So my situation can kind of look as a horror story to some, especially being in college for only, I believe, 3 weeks up to this point. So anyway, not everybody gets to drink or do drugs in high school. I was one of those people. I never really wanted to experiment. So when I got to college, I had a little bit of that freedom. So one night I decided to go out, network with some alumni at the college, and well, of course there was some drinking involved. So this night I learned that once you start drinking to a certain point, you start to get this little hazy look in your eyes. You really can't see very far. So I walk into my dorm room, or my dorm, at about 12:30 p.m. And as I'm walking down my hallway from my room, I notice there's two figures standing outside my door. Now I have no idea who these people are, so I just keep walking down the hallway. Well, luckily, one of the guys that lived down the hallway pulled me into his room and said, "Hey man, can you smell this smelly smell that's going through this dorm right now?" I said, "Well, of course not, because, well, I was drunk and my senses were all confused." So he said, the whole dorm just reeked of weed, and the resident assistants tracked it back to my room. I said, "Well, I haven't been here all night, so I have no idea what was going on." Well, right about this time, the resident assistants walk up and knock on the door because they saw me get pulled into the room. They asked if I was Alex Bacon, which of course I snitched on myself and said, "Yes, I am." They asked me to come back to the room with them. Well, once I get to the room, I immediately see down on the ground next to my roommate on the futon is a Mike's Harder lemonade. Now I remember when my mom used to be drinking these things back at a family barbecue back in 2010. It was absolutely ridiculous to still be drinking those things. Grow up. So I sit down on the couch next to my roommate, and the resident assistant says, "Hey, have you been smoking tonight?" Well, of course not. I've been gone all day. I have no idea where the smell is coming from. So they say they're gonna have to get Pullman Police Department and bring them in because mine and my roommate's stories just weren't lining up. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, if our stories aren't lining up, then it means this man probably said that I was in the room smoking that night. I immediately start to get angry with the roommate, but I keep it all inside. After waiting for the police department for about 15 minutes, I gotta pee. I really gotta pee. But the resident assistants won't let me leave my own dorm room. So I asked and I asked and I asked, and they repeatedly said no. So finally I gave them an ultimatum. I said, "You guys can either wait here for me to go pee, or you can come into the bathroom and you can watch me pee yourselves." Well, of course they chose the option to follow me into the bathroom, watch me unzip my pants, pull out my big old hammer, and start to pee. We get back to the dorm room, and about another 5 more minutes go by, and the police department finally shows up. They do a quick search of the room just to find 10 more Mike's Harders in my roommate's closet. At this point, I am just embarrassed that they found this in my room, but I'm more embarrassed for my roommate with the fact that he actually got caught drinking these. So the police department pours out the rest of the Mike's Harder lemonades, and I am pleading to this police officer to put it in his report that I hadn't been there the entire night. Well, he said he might mention it later on, but because of the immense amount of alcohol he found in the room, he was looking at issuing us both MIPs. Now I am scared out of my mind, considering I didn't drink or do drugs in high school, so I have no idea what this is going to mean for me. So the police department leaves, and I find myself on the couch next to my roommate who is absolutely stoned out of his mind. Well, it turns out my roommate had been smoking in the room with his friends, and they didn't bother to put a towel under the door or even open up a window. Now, this kind of stupidity obviously got me really, really mad, and I decided I can't stay in the dorm room the rest of the night. So I left. I found another place to stay just for that night. And, I didn't really know how to handle the situation with my roommate after that. Now, I did get him back in a very hilarious way. Kind of messed up, but that'll be for another story. So this just goes to show the importance of, making sure you're finding a good roommate that you really connect with. That way you don't end up in a situation like I did. Now, there are all sorts of ways that you can meet your roommate, as well as find roommates. The way that I did it is I went through an app that the college had set up. It's kind of like Tinder for finding a roommate. You scroll through profiles until you find somebody that has a lot of common interests with you. And even though they might look like the perfect roommate on the outside, I really encourage that you go and you hang out with this person a few times so you can really get to know the person and they aren't really catfishing you on this roommate finding app. So that could mean just going to the beach with this person, hanging out, having a day out in the sun, going to see a movie with the person, going out, having a meal, lunch, brunch, dinner, whatever it may be. But do this a few times. That way you can really get to know the person. Now, I think it's also very important for you guys looking for a roommate is to sit down and actually make yourself a list of what is really important to you in a roommate. Now, if you come along and you're searching through these college apps and you don't really find a person that has all these common interests with you, then I would say just continue to reach out. Because if you end up getting stuck with a person like I did, you could end up with the same type of horror story that I did. And you will have to live with this person for an entire semester. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this week's episode on Hazy Days. Make sure to like, subscribe, and even leave a comment down below of some of your guys' crazy college stories. See you next time.